Hi, I'm Barbara.
And I'm John.
Welcome to InnerRacial. Hey guys, listen, we know we've been
slacking.
Right, we've been absent for a little bit, but we're both excited to be back with another video. It's a little bit of a different format today. John and I were interviewed as part of a podcast, so we're really excited to share that with you. We actually brought our cameras so that we could record it and share that interview with you. The name of the podcast is The Love Addict. It's a friend of mine, a longtime friend of mine. She just started her podcast in February on Valentine's Day, appropriately named Love Addict. And we'll share how to find her on social media in our description.
And whatever platforms her podcast is on.
Yeah. And we had a really good time. And
a lot of laughing,
yeah.
And also she's good at what she does because she actually was able to get us to disclose some things that neither of us knew about.
Yeah.
And they're nice things though. No damaging secrets or nothing like that. So, but it was, like I said, it was a lot of fun, a lot of laughing, serious moments.
Yeah.
She stretched us, which is good. She took us out of our comfort zone, but yet also she had us in our comfort zone. So she's great at what she does. And definitely when you get a chance, tune into her podcast. But we think that this particular one that we were able to video will probably make her rethink. She might need to do a video cast more often. We had a blast. It was just recently. And so it's fresh content.
Yep.
And we won't talk about Barbara and how she had to get loose to talk, but she's like she calls herself a stick in the mud, which is so funny.
Yeah.
She's so cute.
But anyway, you guys, I always have to cut them off. Enjoy the video. It's kind of long, but I think it's well worth your time. Watch it in parts if you have to.
Yeah. Watch it in parts and chunks, but it's actually, to me, it's so engaging that you could watch it all the way through because it just flows well and it's very entertaining. At least we think it is.
Yeah.
It's about us.
All right, you guys.
So take care. See you soon and enjoy the video.
Bye.
Peace.
What's up, Love Addicts? It's your girl, Circle B. I'm excited to be back on the Ms. Ike One Good Time. I am here with some special guests today. A good friend. Y'all, I have a lot of good people. I got a lot of good people in my village. I went to school with this young lady. I'm always having people on the show that went to school because, period, Suitland has some gems that went to that school. Anyway, I have my good friend Barbara with me and her love bug, John. Say what's up, y'all.
Hey y'all.
How y'all doing?
All right. So Barbara and her boo have a show on YouTube, a series called InnerRacial. And if you ain't pick up on it, InnerRacial, you probably picked up that they are an interracial couple, which is not all that they are, but that is what they're doing on YouTube. So say what's up to the people, guys, and tell us, what is InnerRacial?
I'll let John.
All right. Thank you. So InnerRacial, we kind of came up with the idea it's actually Barbara's idea. She wanted to, one thing, get more comfortable with public speaking and get more comfortable with being in front of a camera. And she said, what better way to do that is to tell her story and our story on YouTube. And we said, and I said, well, what could we call it? And, interracial was taken.
Sure.
And it's really cliche.
Yeah.
So I said, well, we could, since we're going inside of an interracial relationship, we'll call it InnerRacial. So if you want to check it out, it's on YouTube. It's all one word,
Absolutely.
INNER racial.
I caught the episode where you guys were doing a Q&A.
In Louisiana.
I wanted to
Orleans.
say Savannah. But because the vibe felt very Savannah-ish, but it was Louisiana.
Yeah.
It's
And
the trees
I
in the
thought,
background.
it was the trees. I think that's what it was. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is such a good idea. You look beautiful.
Thank
and
you.
of course you looked handsome.
Thank you.
But like, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is such a good idea. And you guys were answering questions. So please, people, absolutely go watch their series on YouTube, InnerRacial, INNER racial. But I want you to talk to the people about how you guys met, because I think it's beautiful.
Okay.
I like to tell people that John met me.
He met you?
He met me.
Okay.
He usually tells this story, but I'll start this time. So we both work for the same federal agency.
Okay.
And I'd seen him around a couple times. And I said, when I saw him, because I think he's a handsome guy, I was like, oh, he's such a cute little gay guy.
Oh, you thought he was gay?
I absolutely did.
Oh,
I absolutely
wow.
did. Because he has such a metrosexual
Vibe, right.
Yeah.
You do, John. You have a metrosexual look. That's true.
And then there was the second time I saw him, he smiled at me and I smiled back. He was talking with an older lady and we just kept going. And what I didn't know that we actually started working at the agency around the same time. In any event, we had a fire drill one summer, September 25th. I remember it because it's my best friend's birthday.
Okay.
No, the 26th. It's because it's the day after.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Correct. I stand corrected.
Yep.
And it was hot as hell. It was hot as Hades, let me tell you.
Right.
And I had a long
These
sleeve.
DC summers, no joke. August and
It was
September are the
hot.
worst. Yeah.
And I'm on my way in the building, and next thing you know, there's someone standing like within a foot of my presence. And I like distance. Like this COVID stuff, I like social distance.
You like
I
it?
have 6 feet apart.
Okay.
I'm cool.
Okay.
I've been cool with it.
Okay. You gonna keep it up.
I'm going
after
right,
so-
exactly.
Right.
So he's just standing in my face, and I'm thinking, why is this man in my face?
Right.
And he's making small talk, and I'm smiling like awkwardly,
Right.
trying to figure out
Why
what,
are you in my
yes,
space? Right.
I actually had to tap her on her shoulder to get her, because she was in front of me going up the steps to go back into the building. And I basically violated everything.
Everything.
Got in her space,
Everything.
touched her.
And I'm like, awkward smile, hi,
Uh-huh.
and we're standing literally within footsteps of the entrance of the building, and he's just going away. He's just chatting away, and we make our way inside of the building. He's still chatting, making small talk, asking me questions, and I'm still wondering why he's like, what's his purpose?
I'm getting the intel, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah, and he starts telling me about when he started working for the agency, and that he lost his job, and and I felt like he was telling me his whole life story, to be honest with you.
On a fire drill.
In a matter of moments, and I'm thinking, dude, I really don't care.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I just want to know why
you're here.
Yes.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. And then he asked me my name, and I told him, and then he flipped my badge around because I'm one of those people who don't like to keep my badge
Where people can see your name
yes,
and your picture
yes.
and know who you are.
Yeah,
There are quite a few people that are like that.
I'm just like that. I'm just kind of a little psycho like that.
Right.
And I thought, why is he?
Touching me.
Yes. He literally reached into my personal space.
Right.
And then the elevator, we were waiting for the elevator, and the elevator came, and he didn't get on.
She was praying I did not get on the same elevator as her.
I didn't want to make small talk.
Right.
I didn't want to continue to make small talk.
I'm that way too. I don't
Yes.
like small talk.
Yes.
Yeah. We've
It
talked
was
about
big,
it.
it was big talk to me. It wasn't
To her, it was
I
small
had a
talk.
plan.
She was like, I don't know this dude.
yeah.
Exactly. And I went back to my desk, and he went back to his, and then a couple days later, I get an email from him, and actually on our YouTube channel, I realized I told something that was false. So I got an email, and I remember he's the communications director at the time, and so I would get in emails broadcast. Because he would just email out to the entire department, if you will.
Right.
And I remember he had a nice little handsome picture, real cool swag, and I remember trying to zoom in, trying to see it.
Yeah, who's this guy with this beard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. This little buzz beard, because he's handsome. You know?
Right.
And so I get this email, and I actually had taken off leave. I can take a couple days leave before, and the reason was because the day before I'd actually told my ex-husband now, at that time, was husband at the time, that I wanted to separate. So this was a day after I told my ex-husband that I wanted to separate, that he came up to me. And I just needed a reprieve because I was in an emotional world, like the cyclone.
Yeah.
And then I checked my work email, and I saw I had an email from him, that wasn't a broadcast.
Right.
And that was the part that I actually didn't tell correctly on our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, maybe he's not gay. Yeah.
Or I just wanted some hair tips or something.
Yeah. And it was just enough to tell me to suggest that he was interested in it and not gay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you want to?
Yeah. So really, the part of the story that she doesn't know is that when we went out, I saw her. I only saw her one time. She saw me twice, but I don't remember. And I don't even remember the time that we smiled at each other. But I saw her one day coming out of the building that I worked in.
Okay.
And I was so new that I didn't know how many agencies worked in that building.
Got it.
So if I'd have put one and one together, I would have realized that she was in the same agency as me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when I saw her, I was like, who is that? I'm just thinking
she's beautiful.
And her hair was longer at the time, and I love her hair now, but her hair was longer, and I was like, damn, So, it just so happens that months later in September, I'm at the fire drill. I'm standing out and I'm talking with this one of the guys who was on the agency softball team, and we were talking about the end of the season. And I look across, and about, I don't know, maybe 75 meters away, I saw her little head, and because her hair was short now.
Yeah.
And I left his ass standing there. And like I said, I saw her across the way, and I just basically left him.
Okay.
And it was rude, but when I started to walk, somebody said, all clear, everyone can go back in the building. And I thought I had a straight shot at her, but then the damn herd started to migrate back to the... So here I am weaving in and out of people, and I'm like, I don't want to act like I'm running, but I'm like at one of them gay jogs. Maybe that's why she thought I was, that maybe she thought that, no.
Yeah.
But, it's sort of like, I don't want to run, but I don't want to walk, I was in the middle there, the power walking.
The power walk.
And so it took me all the way up until she was getting onto the steps to go back into the building, and that's when I kind of caught up with her. Okay.
And
then she really, the rest is
exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, which is a beautiful story. Like, that's just, I love when people meet and it's just kind of like organic. Yeah. So that felt very organic. So when you guys met and you went, then what happened? Like, how did the first date, if you don't mind me asking, like, how did the connecting start?
Not at all. I think we just started messaging each other. So after the email, I responded back to him, because I apologized for my delayed response. And then it just happened naturally from there. We just started emailing, and then he says, well, do you think we could Skype? And so we started instant messaging each other through Skype that way. And then he says to me, I usually don't go to lunch with people. And I'm like, me either, dude.
Right.
And he's like, well, maybe we could just walk to lunch. And so that's what we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
We went and got some grab and go sandwiches.
I tell you, it was really, and adults sometimes don't like to use the word cute.
Right.
But our back and forth was really cute. It was really cute. Because I remember when I was kind of hurt at first when she didn't respond, because I was like, oh man, I done shot my shot and the Joker's gone. I sent the email, she's not responding.
Right.
And then when I got a response, I came in that one morning and I was like, oh my God, my heart fluttered. I was like, wow, she responded, so we started going back by email, and that gets kind of, the string gets long, and she said, let's Skype, let's just do instant messages. But it was so cute because one day she was off and she was shopping, and she said, I like activewear, because I was like, so what kind of style, what's your style? Because she's very professional. That's one thing I like about her. She likes to wear pants and a nice little sport coat, jacket, whatever, or a turtleneck or something, and she sent me a picture of her in like some sportswear
In the dressing room.
In the dressing room, she was trying stuff off, and I was like, yes.
nothing, too risque.
No, but still, a dressing room picture that starts getting to personal space.
Yeah.
True.
And I was
True.
like,
Yeah.
I just, me, I hate to say,
And it was a little midriff picture.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was showing a little flesh.
Yeah.
Because I am a little conservative. Like I said, I'm a little stick in the mud at the time.
Yeah. And I was like, you love at first sight is very cliche.
Yeah.
But there was, and I can't say it was that, but it was definitely, there was just something that
You had
I
an
felt,
instant attraction.
I felt different about her than in the past. I was more, obviously there was a big physical attraction because I thought, she's beautiful, and I loved her hair and just her. I've always been known to go for one with a big booty.
Oh my God.
And not someone.
That's not B.
Yeah, and not no, not that she doesn't.
Yeah.
Not has a. She has
a butt.
She has a beautiful, more of an athletic physique.
And that was one of the things that he
And that's
kept saying
something
to me. He's like, I've never dated a woman with athletic physique.
And I love that, and I always, I see a picture in a magazine and I'm like, damn, I wish my wife had a six pack, or, I wish she had a flat stomach, or I would, and I was separated at the time and it was like, wow, this stuff is,
But they were still living together.
yeah.
But
It was complicated.
It was it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Because you had just sent an email.
Uh-huh.
You had just communicated the message that
Yes.
you wanted to separate.
Yes.
And you were separated.
I was separated before, but we were still living in the same household.
home.
Yeah.
Right. So that does sound very complicated.
Very much.
So then, when did you guys meet? What was the year that this was?
September 17,
2017.
26 September 2017.
2017. Oh, so y'all got some years then, because this
Yeah.
is 2021 at this
Coming up
point.
on 4 years.
Yeah, so that's what's up though. That's awesome. So then you met in 2017, and it's complicated, is how we define the relationship.
Bon I got a complicated order.
Right, bon
Right.
quick. So with that being said, how that seems very not unorthodox, because most would say you were cheating.
Yes.
So how do you navigate that? I'm not saying that.
It was difficult.
Yeah.
No, call a spade a spade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was very difficult because I was still living in my marital home at the time.
Mm-hmm. Because you had just communicated the
I
message.
had literally the day
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And so everything was still fresh. I hadn't even had an opportunity to process
Right.
what would potentially transpire as a result of my telling my ex-husband
Mm-hmm.
that information. And so I just knew that that internally I was just at a period of unrest.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the outcome of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to actually move out because I had a place that I had a renter in, and they had just moved out and bought a place.
Mm-hmm.
So I was planning on moving back. We're talking about moving our house, selling our house and moving there. But I was like, no, I'm going to move there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted to move back into my condo
Mm-hmm.
by myself and contemplate my life, just become a hermit, and just figure out what my next right move.
Yeah, was gonna be.
Yeah, it was going to be.
Okay.
She didn't even know. She didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Actually, what's funny is when we met, I didn't know she was married,
Mm-hmm.
let alone that she had.
Sure.
We got into we had this meeting one day because we talked about it in one of our previous videos. So hopefully people go watch and the other ones. But we had and that's when she told me, when we had this particular meeting, because I stepped kind of out of line a little bit and got a little too personal. And
I think that was episode 2. That was how our first.
I kind of tried to get into her. I went, actually it was very innocent. I had, but I could see now, after I did it, I could see how she could have been offended. So.
And I wanted to add this too, because I don't think I ever disclosed this, but to him. So premiere.
Oh.
See, Circle B brings it out. She brings it out.
Yeah. The thing is that he didn't ask. He didn't know I was married.
Right.
Although I wore a ring,
Mm.
I didn't want him to see my ring.
Oh,
I
wow.
was literally like, holding my hand in my coat. He didn't notice, but I was like hiding,
that you had a ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Fair enough.
Okay.
He wasn't looking anyway.
No, I
but-
wasn't
Right,
looking.
right.
I was at the point where it's, you get to a point in your life where you're like, if not out of disrespect, but because if I look at a woman and actually see she's wearing a ring and then I approach her, then I'm being disrespectful. But if I
Right.
just don't look,
You know
And
what?
he clearly didn't look when
know what?
the fire drill, because I wasn't trying to hide it then.
Yeah.
Right. So then that leads me to my next question of you said you typically like women with big booties. So I would venture to say Black women are a preference for you.
yeah. It's
Really?
yeah. I've never slept with a white woman. Never had sex with a white woman, at least by Bill Clinton standards.
You know what?
That's one of my
I
that's one of my
cannot
lines.
In his
fucking
stand up,
take
right?
John.
In his stand up, that's what it's
Yeah.
like.
So Black women are a preference.
Yeah, when I mean, obviously in high school I had little white girlfriends and
Yeah,
stuff because
yeah,
where
yeah.
I grew up, there were maybe 5 Black students in the high school I went to.
Mhm.
But when I joined the Army at 18, when I was after basic training, which you don't see any women anyway.
Yeah.
At the time, it might be co-ed now, I don't know. But
Mhm.
at the time, it was separate.
Mhm.
And I went to what you call advanced individual training to Georgia.
Mhm.
I was I just saw this one Black female, young. She was also a private in the Army, and she had what we call the Army has birth control glasses, BCs, because they don't let you wear any type of stylish frame. Everyone has to wear these same Gomer Pyle glasses,
Right.
And she had on some birth control glasses on, but she was just adorable. And the drill sergeant was dogging her out, making her do push-ups. And I felt so bad for her. I was like, and then she would get back up and come to attention and say, "Yes, Sergeant," and then he'd say, "Beat your face, get down," she'd get, and I was like, "Oh my God, why is he doing her like that?" But she was gorgeous.
Okay.
And there was something, and she hadn't any makeup on or nothing.
Mhm.
And that's who I lost my virginity to. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. We started.
This is interesting to me. I'm very intrigued by this.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the conversation now steers.
I'm just saying I'm intrigued because I'm coming.
No,
I'm coming to
all
you.
good, because
But,
it's a good story though.
Because I am intrigued by this because I have been vocal on my show that I have with my brother, Jumping Out There, that I am personally not a person that appreciates interracial relationships.
Yeah.
Because I've always felt, and I've had one.
Mhm.
So in high school, I did date a white young man, and it was interesting. He always, like you, in younger years, dated Black girls.
Yeah.
We ended up going to college together, dated Black girls, but he married a white girl,
Wow.
had children with a white girl.
Wow.
And I was offended because I said, so we were Black, and I said this to him in Facebook. So needless to say, we're no longer Facebook friends because I called him out about it. I was like, so Black girls were good enough for you to play with,
Sow your oats.
sow your oats with.
Yeah.
And that's who you really like for real. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was very much like you, literally. But when it's time to like build a family,
Yes.
then, and that I think is where I come from, is that, it's what I do not like Dr. Umar. So
Oh,
let me
yeah.
just say that.
That's
I don't
fine.
like him. But it's what he calls the bed wench
Yeah.
philosophy.
Yeah.
Right? And I go and I think about that. But to hear you say that you like never slept with a white woman is
Yeah.
just intriguing to me.
Yeah. So back to Dr. Umar real quick.
Yeah.
I just saw a clip the other day because he just got into it with DJ
Yes.
Envy about the whole
Mhm.
shooting, but he was also talking about, he totally does not support interracial
relationships at all.
of any Asian and whatever.
None, because you
I-
talk about the Black family.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
talk about but you have Black children, so
Yeah.
like you. I don't know if you're done having kids or not, but like you have.
I am.
You right, girl. Yes, amen. But also, your children are interracial
yeah,
or biracial rather.
So yeah, but I consider them Black.
right.
and- and-
because the world does as
Yeah,
well.
but there are many white people who are in interracial relationships, and they have this thing where like, well, we're going to raise them that they can be anyone who they
wanna
want to be. It doesn't work. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
but I appreciate you being so candid and honest about that, John, because it was something that I was worried. I wondered. I was like, well, is it a fetish? Is it a thing? Does he just like objectify black women? This was not a dig against you, but it's just a question that I have. So now for you, you have black children.
Yes.
So clearly you were not only attracted to white men. So so what is it? Is it just happened for you?
I would say yes. Because again, I didn't go seeking John out.
He definitely found you.
Yeah. And even what
in the very literal sense of the word.
In the very literal sense.
Right.
And my ex-husband was Peruvian, so he was very white skinned.
Yeah.
But but through his lineage, I think his grandfather was white.
Yeah.
So his mother's father was white.
Right.
And he was my teacher. He was my colleague at the college level.
Sure.
And I found myself, well, I think he expressed an interest in me.
Mm-hmm.
So even though he came into the class, like I remember thinking, oh, he's such a cool dude. I wasn't thinking, let's date.
Right.
So I just found myself, it just happened to be out of, my
outer shell.
Yes.
Your skin.
They weren't within my race. Yeah.
Right. So do you guys receive criticism about your relationship?
No, I think the one time that I may have seen something or read actually through our YouTube channel, since we started our YouTube channel, I think it was a similar comment about fetishizing like black or either fetishizing black women or
my trophy.
Yeah.
Like
right.
Like I got a trophy black woman and she's kind of my toy.
Or the opposite.
Okay.
Or the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah.
The times are different now. You know, so
this is nothing new.
2021, this is not new.
No.
Like people are doing like been doing this.
So so I think that's what's interesting that people don't really understand. I'll be 55 in June.
Okay.
So 18, we're talking 1985, 84, 85 that I started, lost my virginity to a black woman and in one of my stand-ups I say, how they say once you go black you never go back. I said I never fucking started to go back. So for me
okay, so we need to know when's your next comedy show, because clearly
so for me it's like once you start black you just never switch.
I mean these are facts, because let me say period. Black women is where it's at.
Baby.
Yes, baby.
But
yes.
Baby.
Yeah. I'm not trying to take control of the show.
Right.
But what I will say is, and this is very interesting, I had no idea. I knew that there was something about black women that there was just an inner something that just there in my neighborhood there was one black lady that lived there.
I love the story.
Okay.
And she rented there was somebody had like a sort of a barn style kind of house.
Right.
And they lived in the bottom and she rented the top. And I was 16. She had a niece named Dion who I wasn't even attracted to Dion. But Tracy was the lady's name, and she asked me one time. She said, "Hey, do you know how to paint?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I want my kitchen painted, and I'll pay you to do it." Because I was 16, and she knew me, and because my dad and mom were friends with the person who was renting, her landlord.
Right.
So we were down there a lot. So it was a Saturday morning and I got all ready and I'm not like getting ready like I'm going on a date. I'm just going down there to paint her kitchen.
Right.
And I knock on the door. Now, Foxy Brown.
Yes.
Okay.
So, got the visual. Yep.
She had on a terry cloth like a body jumpsuit, kind of a form-fitting, low cut.
And you
She was probably, I'm going to tell you what, she was probably a double D. She had a small waist, big hips.
You lost your mind, John. John lost his mind at 16. He was like, that's where I want to be.
I was about to just walk through the goddamn screen door without even opening it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, and something immediately just touched me. And it was like, oh my God, I never realized that I would, because I never even thought about a black woman before, but I've never looked at a white woman and
In
had that
same
feeling.
way. Right.
Although I
right.
was only 16, I
Right.
saw many attractive white women. You know, that's
Yeah.
all there were. You know,
Right.
Charlie's Angels. And,
Right,
you know, that
absolutely.
shit.
Yeah.
So that's
He
where.
thinks white women are kind of average to him.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
yeah, I mean,
You have no debate from me.
there's something that, you know, there is something.
There's some
sort of-
gorgeous white women.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong,
True.
but I do believe that the white women that I've found gorgeous, they have something else. They're not Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah. I was
You
at
feel what I'm saying?
I was at the airport one time, this was years ago with my daughter Kaya, and then we were going to traveling somewhere, and there was a white lady who had like sleeve tattoos and she had dreads.
Mm-hmm.
She was beautiful,
Right.
and she was different though. She
Yeah.
wasn't your, you know.
Yeah.
And so I said to Kaya, I said, "Oh my God, I actually think she's like fine," you know.
Mhm,
And Kaya was like, "Oh, you know,"
Because she has dreads.
Yeah, I mean,
She has something
She
that
has
she's
some black
culturally
qualities.
appropriated from a black woman.
Yes, yeah. So I said,
Right.
not that I would date her or anything, but she's actually attractive, you
Right,
know.
right.
So since that Saturday morning painting kind of thing, that I think that's where, and I let it go after that because, like I said, there weren't any black young ladies around,
Right.
and that's probably where the seed was planted, you know.
That is so
saying.
crazy to me. And the reason why I asked if you receive criticism, because I can remember younger, maybe in my early 20s, that, and sometimes depending on the circles that you run in, you will find and you will hear black women, you know, like, you know, if they see a black man with a white woman. Like I feel like in my life, I hear that more, where it's like, oh,
I read it.
You a black man and now you want, but I don't hear it as much when black women choose white men. And here's what my theory is why. I hear they're in jail, they're gay, they're not gainfully employed, they don't have my level of education. Like black women have been getting it for a minute in terms of doing it for themselves,
Yes.
having their own homes, going to college,
Yes.
like being higher educated.
Yes.
And
What are you going to bring to the table?
what do you have?
Right.
And so black women were then opting for others, whether they're white, whether they're Asian, whether they're Dominican, whatever. They were just doing something different.
Yeah.
So I don't hear as much in you guys' situation, but I do hear it when it's a black man who has decided to date outside or marry outside or procreate outside of his race.
Yeah.
And so that's why I asked the question. So
Can I interject
yes,
real quick?
of course.
When you mentioned the young men who dated all and then he ended up marrying white.
Yes.
What I was getting at is, like, since I started, you know, in like 85 and I got married pretty young. I was 22 or 23. And I have had over 30 years of marriage. So I consider myself pretty fortunate because I really have never had any confrontations with any redneck white people trying to, boy, what you married that black girl for, you know.
Right.
So, and I've been everywhere from, you know, Texas to Alabama to, you know, wherever, Florida.
Sure.
Now, don't get me wrong. I have felt the
looks or something.
energy. Yeah, you feel that
energy.
tension in the air.
Absolutely.
But no one's ever came up and said anything, which is cool. You know?
Better
you
for
know.
that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Blessed be. So leads me to my next question then. What about the internal criticism, like your children? How did your children feel about you guys? Well, you always had
he's the
biracial children,
right, yes.
but
so,
you,
yeah, so exactly. But you know, actually, my daughter loves my ex-husband. You know, because she was 3 when I met him.
Yeah.
And so he still considers her his daughter. You know, but because of the situation that evolved as a result of like my separating and then me immediately getting into another relationship, not even before I was divorced,
right?
She felt some kind of way.
Sure.
And still a little bit does, you know. So, but I won't speak for him because I'll let him speak for his children let him speak about his children. But in my case, my daughter definitely felt some kind of way.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, John?
Really, it's funny. We have children that are the same age.
Okay.
Her daughter and my middle child are the same age, and he really has nothing against Barbara.
We have the same birthday.
Same birthday. Both, same birthday. So they're twins. But he just kind of he didn't like the fact that the family split up.
Sure.
Sure.
And that was the situation.
Yeah, and
my daughter as well.
So it's interesting. She said that, but like my oldest son, he's 31. He's
they couldn't care less.
Yeah, he's very he'll miss Barbara. And she's actually cooked for his children, for my grandchildren. So he knows he likes Barbara.
The grandkids love me too.
They do.
What do they call me?
They call me Pap Pap, and she's Peep Peep.
That's so cute.
Because I called my grandfather Pap Pap.
Okay.
He's Czechoslovakian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my and Babu was my grandma.
Okay.
Now Chaz, my oldest son, he calls my dad Grandpa, but he decided to have his children call me Pap Pap, which I thought was so adorable.
Yeah.
And then my daughter, she's like, she loves Barbara.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone up and stayed in her apartment where she's in New York City.
Okay.
We did karaoke night.
Yeah. I love that. So it's interesting. When I got divorced, I never married my first son's father. He was definitely a love child, like conceived in love, like loved him from the beginning. So when I did marry, my ex-husband took my son in. They have, and even now, like, have a great relationship. The fact that we are divorced does not. But my eldest son is also about to be 22.
Yeah.
Right. So he's about to be 22. Yeah. So
same for us.
Yeah. So he is, even now when he goes and picks up his little brother and sister, 16 and almost 12, he'll go in the house. If they're at their dad's, he'll go in the house. They have talked through the night, and now he drinks. So he'll be like, hey, just take a drink, sit down and talk or whatever. So, and it's great. Like, but when he and I divorced, my eldest son was already living with his dad.
Okay.
So he was not a product of it necessarily, but our children, the two of us, oh my God. And so when I started dating again, the boys, I had to be like, guys, like, I'm the mother.
Yeah.
Wow.
Y'all are not my bodyguards. Like, what is happening right now?
And that's a beautiful thing. You asked about, I think you kind of mentioned, I don't know if you plan to have any more kids. And I immediately said no.
Right.
I would love to have that experience, like, because I have a daughter.
Right.
So if I could guarantee, cast a magic spell that I would have
a boy. Yes.
I try to tell her I know how to do that.
Listen.
It's the angle. It's the angle.
OMG. I cannot at this point. John, you crazy.
I don't believe it.
But like, I literally, my boys were first. My boys were first. And so I wouldn't trade that for the world. I feel sorry for my daughter because she doesn't have a thing coming. Anytime she looks in the direction of a male figure, my boys are like, on her dad is on her. Guys, my last guy that I dated was on her. Like, she shotguns everywhere. She's very protected. She's like, Mommy, you're my only hope if I'm ever gonna date. She's like, I can't date with Dad. And so it's very funny and cute. So I share that and my daughter, when she stopped feeling the guy that I was with for 5 years, like, she really stopped feeling him. And so it brings me to my next question around, I'm at a crossroads between thinking, do you make a decision of who you remain with based on the love or acceptance of your child?
That's a really good question. Obviously, it's been nearly 4 years.
Now, granted, your daughter's grown, so but still, let's just think about if she was young.
I can say that I've contemplated that.
Okay,
I can honestly say that.
Yeah, I've contemplated all the time because my daughter's still with me. She's about to be 12, so she's still very young.
And the thing is when my daughter was younger, when she was 3, when I met my ex-husband, it was important. Like, I had to feel him out. I'm going to get around to your question.
Mm-hmm.
Feel him out initially before I even brought him around her.
Sure,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, without question.
And so once I thought, okay, he's going to be around for a little bit,
right?
Then I made the introduction.
Sure.
But if she didn't like him, because at the time, she was young.
Sure.
So it was important. Like, whoever I have in my life, they have to accept and be willing to. The relationship, the interaction has to be A1. Period.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand, because she's underage.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, they're still your child.
Yes.
And you love them.
Yes.
And
I want her to feel comfortable.
Yes.
If I'm going to marry this person and we're going to be in the same household.
Yes.
Like, you got to feel okay.
Yes.
So as a mom, I struggle with my happiness, and she feels a way about this.
And I can tell you, we just came from traveling.
Yeah.
And I saw her.
Yeah.
Having traveled there, and he was with me.
Yeah.
And he's pretty intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I love about him. to kind of fast forward a little bit.
Right.
That he could pick up.
Mm-hmm.
That there was still some distance, some pushback there.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I said to him very early on, don't try hard. And I, because if it's going to happen, it should happen organically.
Yeah.
Don't push.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I don't do with his son.
Mm-hmm.
I just lay low in the tall grass is what I tell him.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good piece of advice.
But at the same time, she doesn't really lay low in that she does.
I'm around.
She's around, but she always, and what I appreciate it, she actually engages. She'll say, hi, how you doing, Eric? She makes sure to make sure that
acknowledge him.
And I think that's great, versus just like him coming in and her not saying anything.
Sure. Absolutely. Then that gets awkward.
Yeah.
And then feels rude. Yeah.
Because I know he's feeling me out.
Sure.
I know he's still feeling me. I'm not trying to be his mother. He has a mother. I'm dating his father, and I just want to have a relationship. Whatever he's willing to allow is what I'm willing to kind of meet him.
Absolutely.
Halfway with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I try to demonstrate the same and I think he's pulled back, obviously, because my daughter lives all the way in California. She lives in a whole nother state.
Right.
But the same thing that I would hope that he would sort of mirror with her as well.
So shifting gears a bit off of like you guys, I'm shifting to like relationship things, right? I've been doing a lot of thinking around as I'm writing my next book and processing around this concept of boundaries, sacrifice versus compromise, right? So two different things, sacrifice versus compromise and boundaries. Something that you brought up early on around the boundaries piece is
arm's length,
right? So like literal physical boundaries, but then how did you navigate in the newness? Because for me, I know that if I were to ever date outside my race, the level of boundaries I would have to have on things we discussed and talked about, because I can be extremely militant, right? So in my head, I'm like, will you be able to relate to me on those areas?
I'm going to correct you a little bit again, because you've already dated outside your race.
You're right.
Yes.
Dated seriously.
Yeah.
Like in my adult life.
Yes.
Because he was in high school.
Okay.
Girl, he don't count.
That don't count, no.
Barbara, he don't count.
But it was an experience nonetheless. So
his family was hella racist.
Okay.
So I could have never been with him. That's why he married this. And I don't want to put this man's business out there.
Okay, no, it's okay. It's okay. But here's the thing. The thing is, when John and I started kind of just engaging with each other very early on, I noticed that race was a big deal to him. And one of the things that the first thing I think that revealed it to me was he was very uncomfortable telling me that his son was in the Nation of Islam, his oldest son. And
why were you uncomfortable, John? I don't mean to cut you off. Why were you uncomfortable telling her that?
Because I've met black people who they think that's crazy, and
that he's biracial?
Well,
in the
no.
nation?
Oh,
just the nation
of
in
Islam in
general.
general.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
they're like, oh, that's crazy.
Okay.
Farrakhan's whack. You know, no, you know, but
Yeah.
but
And that
yet
was my
they,
reaction.
You know,
Like,
you were
like,
yeah.
like so.
she was
I
like,
yeah.
shrugged. So
Yeah.
my father is a Muslim.
Yeah.
Well, it had
was-
nothing. It had nothing to do with me being embarrassed of my son.
Right.
It was just not knowing
very guarded.
How she would respond
yeah,
to that information.
Because I support when my son first went in the nation. There was some turbulence and some stuff going on because it was a very up and down time in his life because he was coming awake and things that he always knew but always didn't accept. And it started to turn into some internal struggle in our relationship. And I was still coming out of the military, and I was still like, you need to stand up for the flag and all this bullshit.
Yeah.
Which now I'm like, I could care less if you ever do again.
Right.
You know, my daughter.
Me too.
won't.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
So
yeah.
you know, so I just had that patriotic kind of thing, which
understandable.
I had to learn.
Where
a
you
lot.
had you were in the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and there was this sort of like thing where I had to. He taught me a lot, you know. We taught each other, and we're closer now than we've ever been.
They talk every day.
Yeah.
And then the next thing that kind of had a light bulb about, he was telling me the story about this woman, and he made a point to tell me what race she was. I think she was a white woman, was a black woman, and I'm like, well, what purpose does that have in the story that you're telling me? And I was just wondering what relevance it
Right.
And then he kind of looked at me, and he kind of looked at me, and I can tell I made him think, because there were several stories that he would share, or things that he would share, and race was often an issue, or not an issue, but
he made it a point to explain that piece.
Yeah, yeah. Just do you remember?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It helps in comedy too.
Yeah.
Because you don't need too much information. You know, it's like a man walks into a bar. That's all you need. I ain't got to say he had a red sweater on.
Right.
A black guy walks in a bar wearing green shoes. You know. So
then it becomes unless it's a black guy walking into a redneck bar. That joke can go different. Yeah. It has to add relevance to the story that you're telling.
Very much so.
And a lot of times we would have discussions, and the race of it had no relevance. You know? So.
And that was a hot topic for him. And to be candid, it kind of made me uncomfortable.
Right.
You know, because I was married to a
Peruvian.
Peruvian. And so there comes a point, I understand that we have these big racial issues, but I don't want it to always be of like thrust in my face every day.
Yeah. Understandable.
So I remember I lived in a high-rise apartment building for a couple years, and I remember a story I told her, and I remember she specifically, remember I said Tofu barked at the black guy? But the point I was trying to make, as a white person, it's embarrassing when your dog barks at a black person.
I can see why. Because immediately it's like, oh, you don't have black people in your house, or you train your dog to bark.
They've never seen a black person before, so obviously you don't deal with black people.
Right.
So it's like, I just want to step on my dog's neck and be like, if you're going to bark at anybody, bark at the old white lady.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
So
I can see how you could feel that way.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's like sort of like little
and for
kids.
me, dogs are dogs. Dogs feel energy.
Yeah.
If they don't like you, it's not because of the color of your skin.
Exactly.
So that's the end that I'm coming from.
Yeah.
It's the perspective of how you're looking at it.
Right.
I think. You
know. That is amazing to me, because when I think about not the race piece, but I think about that, like, because listen, white dudes have come up to me to try to talk to me.
I'm sure.
And I'm like, dude, I don't do y'all. You cannot relate. Where are your lips? You know, that's what I do. That's how my mind goes. And so,
can I say this?
Yes. He has lips.
But the top lip, he has a bottom lip. But honestly, he has really thin lips, and I didn't expect much from those lips.
But those lips do some things.
They gave me that right.
No, that's right, John.
This transition.
He's blushing, y'all. John is blushing. But like I think about boundaries when I think about, and the reason why I'm bringing it around is that it's like boundaries in your physical boundaries, boundaries in relationship, boundaries with your kids, boundaries at work, like I think about all these things, and it's just like another thing. Because listen, I ain't had the best of luck in these relationships, right? So like I feel like it's just another thing, and the way that I roll, I'm gonna pop somebody in their mouth.
Gosh.
They say something sideways to my man. He can be purple, green, polka dot. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm popping you in your mouth.
Aries moon.
Don't. Yes, it's the Aries. Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that on the next half about B, y'all, because she gonna break some things down in a second. but like that, I go left, right? I'm fiercely protective of my loved ones, and so I think about that, and so then I want to think about the piece around sacrifice versus compromise. And so, Love Addicts, I'm going to break down for you why I'm having this conversation. So by definition, I believe when one sacrifices, they are lonely, they experience resentment, they feel abandoned, and they feel that their needs aren't met, and then questioning what's happening around them. But compromise, you problem solve together. You take consideration of the other's feelings or how they will take away whatever this decision will be, and there's no heaviness associated. And this isn't unique to me. This is something that my therapist and I have been talking about as I'm navigating relationships and things of that nature, trying to get out of my own way and out of my own head, because I am a sacrificial lover. And she had to say to me, you do have a bad habit of sacrificing yourself for the sake of your relationships. And then you do feel resentment. You do feel like, now, but I am not one that lords what I've done for somebody over their head. I don't be like, but I did this for you. I did that. I don't do that. But I do, and therapists call it self-abandonment. Therapists call it like you abandon yourself for the relationship or for the person, and you like walk away from things that you need. So she's actively working on that with me, being very in tune with where I am in the moment. What are you feeling? What feels like will serve you right now? Instead of, I am a person that always considers the other person. So it's sacrificial as opposed to compromising, right? So what do you guys think works for you guys?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I would say I can back up in relationships too, because I was married. Oh, absolutely. I was married twice before, and I definitely know that. I think both parties were sacrificing. No, we never compromised, or you're sacrificial, or
when you're sacrificial, you resent.
But are you also saying compromise?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So there was always. I could have compromised more, but I think I sacrificed a lot too. And I was definitely, when it came to, what I did was I just went into a different world with my children, and I became the best father. I said, well, you know what? If I'm not the best husband, I'm just gonna be the best father. And if that's not good enough for you, oh well,
right.
So, and that's not a way to have a relationship.
Sure, no.
And then you think, well, as long as two adults can, live in the same space and get along, things will eventually work. It just doesn't work out. It just doesn't. It doesn't. There's no magic that happens and things get better.
Yeah.
And it took me, 23 years to learn that lesson. At my first marriage, we divorced 7.5 years. We were younger. Things didn't work out. We didn't try, and it just kind of happened. And unfortunately it did, but and we're great friends now. But my second marriage, out of that 23 years, I probably only half of it was good. That's a long time.
That's a long time to be sacrificing.
And we were both sacrificing.
Yeah.
Now with Barbara and I, we're with me and Barbara. I don't know what's correctly grammatically.
Barbara and I, you're right.
I would say that she's kind of taught me about compromise and about, it's not her job to make me happy.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
So you need to be happy as a person. And I think that's where it comes. People sacrifice what they really love to try to make a relationship work.
Mm-hmm.
And then they end up with the resentment. Like,
Yeah.
well, I love golfing like once a month,
Mm-hmm.
but I know that Saturdays are important to you and you want to do this, this, and this. So I'm just going to quit golfing. You know,
That's when resentment comes in.
that's when
because
resentment
you
comes in because I
sacrificed. Yes.
sacrificed something I love
Yes.
doing. And I know
Yes.
golfing's maybe not the best
No,
example,
but
it is.
That, if that brings you joy and
Yeah.
light,
Right.
Yeah.
then you need to be able to do that.
Be able to do that. Now,
Exactly.
I'm not golfing 7 days a week.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
you know, so that's where the compromise comes in.
Absolutely.
You want to golf Saturday and Sunday, you know, every weekend. That may not work either.
Right.
So how about you just golf 2 weekends out of the month,
Mhm.
and we get to do this. So that's where the compromise comes
Yeah,
in.
absolutely.
And Barbara, you know, has taught me that I never got the whole thing of like, it's you're my partner. You should be making me happy.
Right.
No,
No,
you
doesn't
can't.
work. And so let's stay here then in terms of, for me, when I think about that piece about it's not your job
Mhm.
to make me happy,
Mhm.
right? When I think about that piece, it is something that I did not learn. My first marriage was all sacrifice.
Mm.
All sacrifice. Like
Mhm.
I sacrificed so much of who I was, what brought me light, what brought me joy, for the sake of this man to feel comfort, for him to feel seen, for him to feel validated.
Mhm.
I was worried about him feeling insecure
Mm.
because I've always been this. This is who I am.
Yeah.
I've always been a person that's been on a mic, been on a stage, been on a whatever,
Yeah.
and dancing, whatever that was.
Yeah.
You knew that. We were in high school together, so he knew that about me. There was nothing about, I am literally the same person. I just gained a little bit more weight, but I'm very much
Yeah.
the same person, right? Look a little older, but that's it. And I sacrificed that.
And now you're all of a sudden you feel you need to switch it up.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. Like I got to the point where I was like, so I want to do this. I want to go audition for this play. I want to go do, and he would say some hurtful things like, oh, you need to worry about being a mom, or you know, you spend more time with those kids than what you do with your own kids, which was not true.
Yeah.
But he would say triggering things
Yeah.
like that, scrapping. He felt backed in a corner, like I was no longer needing or wanting of him. He was no longer my centerpiece of joy, which was my fault
Mm-hmm.
because I made him that.
Yes. Yes.
I made him that
Yeah.
because I chose. And
Yeah.
that's something that I talk about in Love Addict, the memoir, my book,
Yeah.
is that it wasn't all his fault. I did that.
Yeah.
I should have shown up authentically who I was fully the entire time of my
Yeah.
marriage, and said, or even when we were dating,
Yeah.
said, so this is stuff that's really important to me, and I'm going to continue to do these very things.
Yeah. So it's funny because in my second marriage, that's when I started being more creative, doing parodies and things of that nature. And there were times that my ex-wife said, that ain't paying no bills.
Right.
But I had a full-time job paying. I'm already paying the bills.
Right.
And plus some.
Right.
But now I'm doing something that makes me happy and brings me joy. Now I'm not doing it 7 days a week.
Sure.
And I wouldn't come home from work and get in the studio and just let her handle it. I was sacrificing sleep,
Right.
maybe once or twice a week so that everyone, I get the children eat dinner and get them to bed, say goodnight to her. And then I would go in the studio and do what I had to do. So I wasn't doing it during family time.
Right.
But yet that was always an issue.
The thing.
But at the same time, I can now look back, and she wanted to do interior decorating, and she always wanted to start her own business, and I didn't support that.
Right.
I had my reasons.
Yeah,
My
right.
reasons were more like, well, we've kind of built our kingdom on our incomes, and now you just want to stop working and launch this business.
Right.
Do you have 6 months of bills? Money to
Money to pay?
that we can get this
Right.
started. So there were always, but hers was, I just felt hers was a little more jealousy. Like, why are you getting to do these things you enjoy? But
And I
whenever
can't.
I can't. Exactly. And that's where there's not a, it's funny. There's sacrificing, and then there's the willing or the I'm not going to sacrifice at all.
Right.
And then you can't have compromise if you don't. sacrifice a little bit.
Right.
Both parties have to
give up something.
Have to give up something.
Both parties have to give up something. Do you have something you want to add, B?
She has to.
I have to.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the only thing I would add is that in my former marriage, there was a lot of compromise. I would have to say that we did that well, right? But to bring it back to us, when we first met, I felt like I was sacrificing because I wanted to just live alone, and be by myself. And then the more I tried to pull away, the more he kind of leaned in, like what, and he was having these issues in his relationship, and I had to be his counsel when I was already dealing with my own shit.
Yeah.
Can I say shit?
Yeah, you absolutely.
Okay.
Listen,
Can I say
cuss
shit?
like a sailor. You can say shit.
Okay.
Absolutely, you can.
Yes. So that was an issue for me. Not only because it didn't give me an opportunity to just deal, and I was his advisor in a lot of things, and I felt like it was unfair. So
you had to set up a boundary.
Yeah, oftentimes I would push him away.
Yeah,
and I could tell. I could spider sense. I could tell when.
Right.
I could probably tell a week before she was getting ready to push me away that she was getting ready to push me away. And that's when I would start digging in the claws like, yeah, this is going to be a rough ride for next week or so,
Right. But I am, on my next episode, I'm going to have a guest on and we're going to talk about loving someone through pain. Because that's exactly what it sounds like happening.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You know what I mean? Because
for her especially. I would say.
My question was, whomever the party is that you're loving through the pain, the person that's doing that has to have the level of patience and kindness and understanding,
maybe
that I know I'm not equipped for.
Yeah.
I'm not equipped for.
She taught
me. Patience of Job, baby.
Yeah, patience of Job.
Yeah,
you have to.
She taught me to be.
But if you care, and if they're worth it, you'll do it.
You'll learn.
But I felt that was a part of why we came together, because he needed me. My purpose in his life was to help him through that. One of my purposes in his life was to help him through that.
And she did. She.
I asked him not long ago. I'm like, if we never came together, do you think that still be married and going through the same stuff?
And it's hard to answer because I've always been this like person who thinks that there's the love story and everything comes out great at the end. That's what I always believed that, like if you just put in the hard work and just stick in there, but just sticking around ain't hard work. That's being complacent, and it's sacrificing again. And so I that's a hard question to answer. But she definitely she just opened my eyes to so many things and just different ways of thought and just self-confidence and quit letting her push you around, because it's like we were literally separated, not even in the same like house anymore, and like she had me by the balls, it was like you gonna do this, I
don't want to bash anybody, but there were things that were happening, so like I always try to steer the conversation because I'm very protective of because there's always two sides
to every story,
right?
Absolutely,
always,
absolutely, yeah. And I think
my side and my side,
and your side and your side. Exactly. But that's also a man thing. That don't have shit to do with nobody's race.
I know,
masculine.
It is, but I just I've always like wanted to kind of reel it in a little bit because there were some things that he shared with me, but also, and I was able to hear things as well. But I'm very much into, just sisterhood in a sense, because I know that we're all dealing with shit.
Yeah, we are. We are absolutely. Yeah. We absolutely are.
And I like I said, what I said, I'm not at all trying to bash.
That's fine.
But it's hard to give the full story because what I will say, You know, she was a great mother. You know, I mean, we have a good relationship now. There was just a lot of resentment.
Sure.
You know, and people do mean things because they're
and
mad.
that's what ends up happening when there's sacrifice and not compromise,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to shift to fun stuff.
Okay.
Yay! Fun stuff. So this is the part of the show where I start to cut up and I do silly stuff.
Okay.
But I think it's fun. And so we're going to do a segment on, it's called This or That.
Okay.
It's fun.
You can get with this, or
Well,
you could get with that.
Hey, exactly.
You could get with that.
So my this or that, my first this or that, wings or pizza?
Pizza.
Pizza.
I'm a vegetarian. I'm a pescatarian, so I wouldn't eat chicken anyway.
Oh my gosh! And you a vegan, right?
No.
You're not a vegan.
He eats beef.
Okay.
I do beef. I
Okay.
eat
For some
chicken.
reason,
pork.
why did I think that you were a vegetarian or a vegan?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know
so
why.
I've changed a lot because I'm compromising. You know, I'm not. I don't feel like that's a
But
sacrifice.
he doesn't have to.
I don't have to.
Right.
But it's just that
It's a choice he's making.
Yes.
I see. What
I haven't
she
asked
does,
him.
What she does is healthier. You know. So
Yes. There's that.
I don't. I mean,
But I'm gonna eat a wing.
Well,
Listen.
Like I'm borderline
Do you, boo?
pescatarian.
Do you, boo?
just
But I
like
love me some wings.
And there's no judgment.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because I've
Absolutely.
evolved.
Right.
You know, I realized that there's no one diet for anyone.
No.
You know, so
It's not. It's fun. It's all in good fun.
it's all
So, beach or mountains?
mountains.
beach.
Me too, girl.
But you know,
The
I
water
can
speaks to
yes,
me.
ma'am. But I can appreciate the mountains because
I
at least for
appreciate
him,
them.
because for us, I think we like to be active.
Mm-hmm.
And the beach is sort of synonymous with just lounging
And peace and serenity.
But
I go there to the water and we're going to get into it
Mhm.
in a second. The water is my conduit of communication, I feel like,
Mhm.
with spirit.
yes,
And so I need to go
See,
to the water.
yes.
See, I don't look at water and the beach as synonymous. Like the beach is like laying on the beach. Now, if you ask me,
But it has to be the beach. It can't be the pool.
no,
like I have to go to
exactly.
a body of
Mhm.
water,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
a God created body of water
Yeah.
to feel that
Yes,
level
ma'am.
of like serenity and peace.
Yeah. Okay.
The pool don't do that.
Yeah.
So
I love her.
pool don't do that.
The pool don't do it,
The
boo.
pool don't do that.
Come again.
Next one. Wine, coffee.
Wine. I'm not a coffee
Coffee.
drinker.
Coffee?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing is I don't really like to taste the coffee. I've had coffee. I've done coffee like bulletproof with
Mhm.
butter and coconut oil.
Mm-hmm.
And I was forcing it because I was doing keto at the time.
Okay. I mean, and you look great.
Thank you, Bo.
Like
You do too.
you look freaking fabulous. No, I don't, girl. I don't look like you. Don't do that.
I reject that.
Don't do that. Next one.
I'm telling you.
My next one goes a little bit deeper.
Mm.
Connected, disconnected. Connected in terms of the phone, like gotta be constantly connected, like
is good.
communication, or like disconnect, recharge. People send you text messages and you don't feel that.
I'm gonna
"Ooh, I
see.
gotta respond."
I'm gonna see if he's honest. I'm disconnected.
You're disconnected. That's hard because, yeah, if it's relationship wise, it's connected.
For sure.
Mhm.
You know, I would rather be in the same room with her,
Mhm.
you know, and she wants some space, you know,
Mhm.
and not that I'm on top of her or nothing, but it's just
Mhm.
this feeling I get when I can look over and see her.
That she's
you
right
know?
there. That's how I
Yeah,
am.
it's
I'm that way.
I like that.
I can be in the same space. You
yeah.
don't have to be communicating.
But
Yes.
when it comes there, I mean, there are obviously days that I may be on social media more than others, but I'm never like, one thing that I really love about when we are out there.
We're gonna get there. Yeah.
Is the fact that we can both disconnect at the same time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and dinner, boom, just have a great conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We are
And
getting
not
ahead.
have to look.
He's answering.
But it's all good. It's
Yeah.
all good. That was a great segue. So we've already checked off one because that was my last one.
Oh,
anyway,
cool.
of this or that. That was my last one. So we're shifting gears to the top 5 things. Top 5 things that you love about your partner. You already said one.
Yeah.
You love that you guys can disconnect at the same time and be present.
And that was one of mine because I was going to reference Erykah Badu. I can, what's the song about making you put your phone down?
Yeah, I can make you put your phone down.
Yes.
Yes.
Because when we go out, I'm observant, and when I see other couples sitting at a table,
And
they made
on their phone.
Yes, they make a point to be with each other, but they're not with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes me sad when I see that too. I make a point when I'm with my guy to
put it down.
Just put it down. We have children, so like we have it there just in
For
case.
sure.
But it's always like face down but it's not like social media the entire time.
So that would be one of the things that I love about him. He can make me put my phone down.
Yeah.
So we have one.
That's
one
dinging. Okay, so you have one and you have one. Okay. That's 1 and 1. No, you got 2. Because you said put. No, that was the one.
Yeah.
That was the same one.
Yeah, same one.
Okay, all right, same one.
Yeah,
so take that back. So we 2 and 2.
I can't
1 and
believe
1.
you said. I'm shocked that you said that because I literally wrote it.
Okay, next one. Top 5 things.
His love for the way he cares for his family, the way he shows up for his family. He goes hard in the paint for them. Yes, his children, grandkids. He's there.
Okay.
Anything.
Okay.
But he is hard-nosed when he needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
But he loves them and gives freely every other time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That almost made me cry.
Aww.
But so
do we need to take a pause?
And that would be number 3.
Okay.
Because he's very in tune with his feelings and his emotions.
That's a beautiful thing when a man can like be in tune with his emotions and nothing like an emotionally intelligent man, because I've talked about this on Jumping Out There with my brother, where men are just taught to not feel. Doesn't matter your race.
Mm-hmm.
Like men are just taught, don't feel, grow up, man up, boys don't cry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then women grow up and like, why aren't you emotional?
Yeah.
Why don't you talk? It's like, because their whole life they've been told they shouldn't do that.
But I have to say, I've been very, not to take anything away from him, but I've been very privileged to be with partners who are very much in tune with their emotions. And I think,
give me my email address.
No, I need that. Listen, I think I need that.
Yeah. Really?
Yes. Because I'm wondering, like, why are they so easily like vulnerable? Whereas
because you just get partners where you need,
and I'm the opposite.
Yeah. Okay.
It's my father, his mother, and they never kissed, they never said I love you, never. And my dad decided to switch. That's one thing that he could never do anything again right in he's older, but he's still with me, which is great, and my mom is too.
Absolutely.
But the thing is he taught me that men can love each other. I mean, we kiss on the lips to this day. He always says I love you, and so he was able to. A lot of times it happens. You just do what your kids would done to you.
Sure.
So he was able to switch that up. So that's probably where that came from.
3.
So she has 3. I only have 1.
You only have 1. You gotta give me 2.
Okay, so 1 I definitely love, and I never thought that I would love this about a woman, but I love her intelligence. Yeah. She's
She is.
She's very intelligent, very, and not just like. There are people who are smart because they are good at algebra or something like that, but worldly intelligence, like she knows some things that I would like, how does she know that, and it's just like, I said, what kind of tree is that, and she just,
she'll know.
She's not 100, she's not 100%, but majority of the time she's like, she knows. And I'm like, well, you know that, so I like,
right.
I like those things. And this is another one that always.
That was 3.
That's 2.
That's 2.
Oh,
he owes me 1 more.
2.
Okay.
And one thing, she's sort of like a geek. And
thank
like
you. That's
nerdy.
a high compliment.
Like nerdy,
It's a
kind
very
of
high
like.
compliment.
It's very high compliment.
Yeah, she's
Aquarius
like
rising.
It's I always thought that I want the like hip chick, like although she's hip too,
Mhm.
but she has
Very
this
much
sort
so.
of quirky kind of
Mhm.
piece to her that
Mhm.
that is very
She can nerd out about stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of sexy, you
Mhm.
know, that
Yeah.
that I like. So
Okay.
I love actually.
Okay.
I don't just wear these glasses because I'm blind.
You're also a geek. Okay. What's number 4 for you, Barbara?
He is totally handy.
Okay.
Baby,
Handy.
get you a handyman.
You can fix stuff. You be in there fixing
Honey,
stuff, John.
he can hang he can figure out some stuff. My washer and dryer went out and he was fixing, like, he took the whole thing apart, Circle. Like, literally. And I was totally opposed to it, but that's one of the things that he does, because when he gets involved,
Yeah.
he is in 100%. And it's like, get out of my way.
That's dope.
I don't care. I've got to figure this out.
Mhm.
And then when I put it back, it's going to be better than I found it.
And you literally put it back together and fixed it.
Well, unfortunately, the transmission is bad, so there's nothing that could be done.
Okay,
It's
so it
leaking.
had to go.
It has to be replaced.
Okay.
But
you figured that out.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
was able to disassemble the whole thing, took it out of her closet because one of the ones that has to go into the closet.
Yeah.
And cleaned everything. It was so when she does get the new unit, she ain't
Yeah.
got to worry about all that.
You wouldn't think this from this sapiosexual looking, like this pretty boy.
You wouldn't.
You would not.
You would not.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So what's your number 4?
It's funny. We're kind of in line here. She's very handy. She has a tool belt, but that's not necessarily what I love.
Oh.
I love the fact that she allows me to be handy.
Okay.
She
Well,
does.
ain't that something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Thank you for saying that, because I got some more stuff, honey.
Right.
Honey.
No,
Right.
there's
Can you
That's
do?
what's up. Can you do? Honey, do. Yes.
because I know
yes.
there's some things that I do that she could easily do.
For
Yeah,
sure.
but you let her.
she lets me
I mean,
do
she
it.
lets you.
Yeah, she lets me do it, and I think that sometimes is, it's important in a relationship that you, because if you feel that, it makes me feel like
a
she
man.
needs me
One
a little
time,
bit,
one
you know?
time he told me I made him feel like a man.
Yeah,
And every man wants to be.
yeah, you want to feel like a man. You know, when you do something and there's that appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because sometimes, you do something and it's like nobody even notices.
Mhm.
It's like, wait, what do you mean? She always notices
Mhm.
everything that I do,
Mhm.
and I would say that's, well, I got 4, and you got 4.
Yeah, so you go
Okay.
next.
I guess I'll go next. So, and I think the audience needs to understand there's not only 5 things that I love.
Right.
Oh, I
People,
know.
you know.
These are top
These
5.
are like top. And
Top
you know,
5. Be
Things
clear.
things can vary sometimes.
Yeah, depending on the season you're in. Absolutely.
I definitely appreciate the fact how she keeps me grounded. She keeps me grounded. You know, sometimes I'll start talking about somebody and she say, that's John,
Mm-hmm.
don't do it. Now, there's a difference between joking about somebody, but actually, because we just talked about that today, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and she really keeps me grounded, and it's a, and when it's that way, I feel that I can be open with her.
Right.
That's where it helps. I can,
Right.
I've never been honest in any relationship in my life. I've always
Now
lied
that's
about something.
honest for you to say
Yeah.
that.
And that was one of the pacts that we made when we started to
Mhm.
talk, when we figured out that we might be talking for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We said, let's just, now, full disclosure is hard.
Yeah.
Because,
It is.
Because judgment.
Who you talking?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You never know what the other person's thinking.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
2 years down the road, they can even use it.
Bring it
you
up.
know,
Yeah.
Bring it up.
Mhm.
So we went through some things after the full disclosure, but I had never done that in a relationship. I started my second marriage on a lie.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I said I didn't have any children, and I had a child.
Right. Right.
That's grungy.
That's huge. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is like, who does that?
Yeah.
And I did it, and I
Yeah.
consider myself a good person.
Right.
But I still did that.
You
and
getting
I'm
some
like,
stuff out here today, Circle.
I am.
Pulling it. Honey, you going
Listen,
deep.
Circle
You are going.
B, I'm trying to
Listen,
tell y'all, it's a gift.
the Love Addict
It's
is
a
going
gift.
Yeah.
deep.
It is.
Yeah.
So what's your 5?
I would say, just like John said, I could go on.
Sure.
But I would say his emotional intuitive, even though we kind of touched on that earlier, he has a level of psychic connectivity. It's another first.
Okay.
This is going to be another first.
Okay.
He hasn't even fully heard this.
Okay. I'm good.
It might have been them 1800 shots I had.
No 1800, no chaser.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying. If you coming on the podcast,
Coconut.
I make sure
Shout out
you
to
straight.
Shout out to
Johan. Shout out to laughing Lenny.
Yeah,
right.
Because my stick in the mud ass would have been like, oh well.
Well, I love it.
Well, I would say he accompanied me to Bulgaria because I went there on an astrology trip.
Okay. It's a perfect segue. But
yes. But before going,
she broke up with me.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, and I was gonna go alone, but
you broke up?
We went to see Circle.
Y'all, I'm bringing out the drama.
Okay, so real quick, because I want to hear a story, but
Yes!
I can get this story. I bought tickets to Cirque du Soleil, right, and it was in Tyson's Corner, and I told her for weeks we were going to see Cirque du Soleil. This is so funny. This black people stuff. No lie. So I pick her up, right, and I'm like. And at first I'm wondering why she's dragging her feet. She's so late, slow. I'm like,
right.
She's like, well, we're going to National Harbor, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's a goddamn Universal Circus. That is not Cirque du Soleil.
That was some black
We ain't going to see Zeke.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. You thought he was bought you tickets to see Universal.
Honey, I surely did. I'm like, what are you rushing for?
It's right around the corner.
Right
I said, no,
road.
goddamn it, this is Cirque du
You
Soleil.
had to go to Tyson's from Southeast
Oh
DC.
my God. I said, I knew that. So I had felt that something was up.
happening.
That told me that because she wasn't even in tune.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
told, how do you mistake Universal Circus and Cirque du Soleil? You just, So, but go ahead.
The
But
intuition.
yes. So
Bulgaria.
back to Bulgaria,
Yeah.
and I had said to him because he had already. I knew he wanted to go with me,
Right.
but he wasn't saying it, but I could feel it because I have an emotional intuition as well.
Right.
So I asked him to go, and he was happy, and I wasn't, right? But we went together, and but I was actually once I got there, I was actually happy he was there. To be honest with you, I was actually happy that I had him there with me, and because it was an astrological conference, I'm around a bunch of people. I'm around a lot of like-minded people, psychics or whatever, people,
Numerology,
all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we came across this woman who from Germany. She's a psychic, had a show, whatever. Her name's Irene. And I remember, her, kind of walking. We were walking her to her place or whatever. And so she revealed some things to us then. But we actually met her in the lobby before we even checked into our room. And she remembered his name.
Yeah.
I didn't remember her, at all. And so when we were leaving, I actually had a reading with her before I left. And then we were checking out, and we were in the lobby of the hotel room, and she's sitting at the door. She's sitting there waiting, like the camera can see me, but she's just sitting there. And we go in, and so we handle our business, and she comes up. I realized now she was waiting there for us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she wasn't checking out. She wasn't doing nothing.
No.
And she and to even know that we were going to be there to check out.
Yes.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Well, actually, I told her we were leaving.
Oh,
but
we were leaving.
But
But
she
we
had,
could already check out.
Right. She had a message. And so she ended up saying something to you. Did she not? Do you remember?
Yeah, she came up to me, and because their reading was basically, she just let me know that it was everything was gonna be okay. No.
Everything was okay, but the thing is, he knew he was. Can I be completely honest?
Yeah,
he was on the other side of the lobby, upset, crying, if you will, because we actually were. I'm
sorry.
No.
Because he was saying some things in the hotel room to me. Because he picked up that I was going to break up with him after.
You got back.
Yes. I'm like, how the fuck you know that?
Right.
I was like, we came on this little excursion, and we were intimate and everything, but I knew I didn't want it to end because I had this feeling that once we left Bulgaria,
it was going to be over.
Like, he literally knew.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah. So it's cool, but then the times I'm like, dude, get out my head. Like,
right.
I don't like this. Like,
Right.
I can't think of private thoughts sometimes. So for you can actually literally read my thoughts, and that's kind of creepy.
Right. Right. That is.
As much as I love astrology too, but
Yeah.
it's like, damn.
That's insane. So this is the last segment of the show. But I do want to get into Barbara's. I don't want to call it a hobby.
It's not.
No.
It's not a
It's
hobby. It's so
it's
much
my life
more
at this
than,
point.
Yeah, it's so much. So I had the
It's
pleasure.
a second language.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of getting a reading by Barbara, and an astrological reading,
Mm-hmm.
and it freaked me out how accurate it was. I've never dabbled. I'm a church girl, right?
Yeah.
So I was brought up in the church. I never dabbled in it. I was taught it was witchcraft. It's divination. You don't do it, blah, 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 blah. But as I've gotten older and I start to realize that is how our ancestors created religion, quote unquote, right? That is how our ancestors began to understand the world, the planets, and understanding the placement of the sun. And like, that's how our ancestors began to navigate this earth.
You think about the three kings; they were following the stars.
They were following the right,
Yes.
right. And
That's astrology.
It is astrology, exactly. So
Yes.
I started to open up my mind to it, if you will. So talk just a little bit. I know you can go deep with it, and you guys have probably heard her on the show saying my Aries moon.
Yes.
Because she did do a reading for me, so she knows. And the information she needed from me was like the weirdest thing, like my date of birth, where I was born, and the time that I was born. And then she went from there. It was absolutely insane. So just talk to the people a little bit, Barbara, about just crack the surface.
Well, basically, if I can piggyback on what you were saying, what
Yeah.
I did, it really wasn't anything significant, at least from where I sit. I just took that information and put into an app, and it gave me all the information, right?
Right.
And then from there, it's a chart. It's like a pie,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has where all the planets were at the time that you were born. And so the way that I look at astrology, the way that astrologers believe, it's a branding. So basically, when you were born, it's like that the imprint of the stars was imprinted upon you at that moment, that time, and that moment of your birth. And the energy, the alignment, the arrangement, the interaction, because planets in astrology are like nouns, people, places, and things.
Mm-hmm.
And they represent a certain energy and teachers and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to look at your chart and see that what we often look at, your sun, moon, and rising. You're not just your sun sign. Most people just look at
Your sun sign,
your-
which
I'm
is
a
what we
Gemini.
say.
I'm
We
a
were like, I'm a
Gemini.
Virgo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
But I don't have Virgo energy.
Yes, and
I don't.
and that's what you often hear, because people from the naysayers, they then kind of go on that because they kind of look up what Virgo, the characteristics, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
Well, that's because there's more,
Right.
and you are a sum of all the planets and the placement of those planets and how they interact with each other, and then they're always moving. So from that
Yeah.
moment, they continue to move.
Right.
And you can actually predict from astrology. You can actually kind of predict energetic frequencies,
Mhm.
like events, like
Mhm.
your marriage and kids, and
Mhm.
whether you're going to go back to school,
Mm-hmm.
whether you might have some health issues,
Right.
even when you die.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to know that. But
I don't either, but it's possible.
Yeah. And so we've been hearing a lot lately about, we just had this pink
Supermoon
and Scorpio.
Yes.
And like, how is this shift in energy
Yes.
and all this stuff? Can you explain what that meant
Yeah.
for us?
So the way that I like to explain it is the sun is the luminary. So there are two life givers or luminaries in astrology, the sun and the moon. The sun is the father, the moon is the mother. The sun is male, moon is feminine. So moon reflects the light of the sun. So whenever there's a full moon, the moon is the furthest away from the sun that it can be.
Okay.
And so when you think about full moons, it's about balance. It's about two things on opposite spectrums. And it has the energy of the sign of Libra, the scales, balance. And also the energy of things coming to full visibility, full completion. And depending on the sign that the full moon is happening in will also color the energetic signature of the full moon. But also in your particular chart, your natal chart, depending on where that Scorpio full moon happened for you, it's going to be your 10th house of career, because we both have similar alignments. We're both Aquarius risings. And so we have Scorpio in our 10th house of career, family. And so the moon is there. So it might be something related to our family. And Scorpio is synonymous with like merging, secrets, psychology. And on a lower, just a very everyday level, mortgages, taxes.
Okay.
So there might be something that you may be dealing with as it relates to like a mortgage coming or a refinance. Actually, I had a refinance that finally
Please
just
let
happened.
a mortgage come. I need a mortgage to come.
That
Yes.
happened. And Scorpio is also synonymous with death and rebirth and transformation. So,
And that is funny because she's been waiting on this refinance
Yes.
for a long time.
Yeah.
And it finally
like long
came.
time.
Yeah, and it
And
finally came.
during that
Time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And it's interesting because when that happened, I have another good girlfriend who does color. She does something with the cards, with color.
Tarot?
She does, I guess it's a reading. She uses a pendulum and all this kind of stuff. And so she was talking, and she and I were talking about Scorpio, the pink moon and Scorpio, whatever that was. I'm not diminishing it. I just don't know how to say it. I don't remember what it is. And she was saying to me, it's a time of great transition.
Yes.
And I was feeling, and it just freaked me out because I was feeling like I needed to make a decision about something.
Yes.
Where my life is right now.
And for you, because it's on an angle in your chart, the 10th house is an angle. And so it's considered a cardinal house. And cardinal houses, you wanting to make a decision, you're wanting to take action. And so, but the thing is with Scorpio, it's a fixed sign. So fixed energy, it takes time to move. Sometimes you don't want to do it, and sometimes the universe will have to literally push your ass.
Yeah.
To get things going.
Yeah. And that's where I was feeling like I needed to make a decision, but I didn't. But I'm also very aware of who I am just in personality, is that I will run off half cocked without full information.
Aries moon.
See? That's what I'm saying.
I'm an Aries sun, so I totally understand. And that's totally unlike your Virgo sun.
It is.
Because you're data driven, like I need to plan.
I need to make sure that this happens at the right time. And I just felt like I needed to make a sudden move.
Yes.
But I wasn't able to do it. And so I was like, I feel like this might be wrong, that I need to get more information. I need to not give in to my nature, which is just do something, because there are repercussions.
Yes.
And that I don't know about.
And that's the beauty of astrology. What the reason why I love studying it, it's a blessing and a curse, honestly. I feel like
I'm sure
days.
people get on your nerves asking you questions all the
No,
time.
it's not even that. It's just knowing the energy and then having to like just think about it. So for you, well, not just for you, and just in general, being aware of what the energy is.
Yeah.
And that's the test, in essence. So, because sometimes it can trigger you negatively. So it might be, there's aspects in astrology and aspects of, in something called a square. It's literally like you square up with someone, like you're, and it could cause fights or disagreements. And so if you're kind of aware of what the universal energy is in advance, you're like, oh, okay, I see you. I know what this is. And then you can respond accordingly. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense.
Okay.
And we could talk about this all day.
Okay.
So top 6 things I love about her. This is one.
I mean,
because the thing
brilliant.
is when I watch her start talking about astrology, I can see myself writing a parody. I can see how I go into another world and that's where I'm comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
she's very comfortable
Mm-hmm.
because she often talks about, I can't
All the
talk.
time.
I can't talk.
Yeah.
You know, she'll be talking, but when she starts talking about astrology,
It goes.
It just
like
goes
like
and
before we
flows.
did this, in full transparency, before we did this, she was like, okay, you don't have to give me the questions, but can you just give me like what we may be talking about because of her
Mercury
she
and Pisces. Yes.
what she knows about herself
Yes.
is that she'll get stuck.
Yes.
She's caught
Yes.
off guard, and things she may want to
Yes.
say, she won't say in the moment.
Mhm.
And so out of respect for her
you.
knowing that, I was like, well, I want this to be a great show. So
Thank
I'm
you.
going to do that.
And she's
And it's
very-
been a great show because
Yeah.
I did that. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And that's beautiful
And it didn't.
that you know that about
and keeping
yourself.
it 1800, Pisces is also like imbibing a little bit.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Keeping
she's
it
very-
1800. That was cute. That was real cute, bro.
Go ahead.
yeah, and she's very modest about it. She's not cocky.
Oh God,
about
no,
it. I
no,
like
the
that.
most beautiful spirit, like beautiful, humble spirit, beautiful person inside and out. And so that is the show, guys. I thank you both for joining me on Love Addict the Podcast with Circle B. Please tell people where they can find you in case they want to follow you.
Before we do that, I just want to say thank you for the invitation.
Oh, of course.
I really appreciate it. I've had a whole too much fun with you. to be
It was
honest with you.
awesome. I'm so
yeah,
glad.
Yeah, and I this is great because when we traveled together.
Yes,
you
yes,
know,
we did.
I really didn't get to know you much,
Right,
and
right.
you. I was telling her, I said, I'm trying to fill her out, but I really can't fill her out, So this is cool.
It's my and you probably were feeling
Aquarius rising.
my energy.
Mhm.
Yeah, my
Yes.
energy was like, I don't know about this dude.
Right.
Is he objectifying my girl? I don't know.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
again,
yeah.
fiercely protective
Mhm.
of,
Yeah.
Yes.
and Barbara and I aren't close, but we're friends.
And
you know
I-
what I mean?
And I think that's because of your experience as well.
Yes, it's
And-
totally in
yes,
my
yeah.
and that's what that's probably the energy. You're a great guy, John.
Thanks.
It's not.
You need
personal.
what? You know what? You should. You should.
I totally want to come to your comedy show though.
Yeah.
He's gonna invite you. I'll make sure that he invites you, or I invite you.
Yes.
But also, if any of your listeners want to kind of check us out on Instagram or YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
at InnerRacial, INNER racial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please
and
check
if you
them out.
if you search us on YouTube and you put in the search bar inner, it's all one word, INNERRACIAL. It might say search interracial. So you want to make sure that you go to that bottom and click I'm searching for inner,
Right.
and we'll pop right up. And then and on Instagram at InnerRacial. We have some great videos on there, and it's cool.
It is.
And,
It's really cool.
It's difficult though. I
absolutely.
respect you for being able to keep this podcast. Because you have to make it part of your routine.
Your routine.
Because I have.
Thank God it's my brother that's my producer because I would not be.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
I know.
He
He's
was
so-
so accommodating
Oh yeah,
to us.
that's my
Yeah,
baby
'cause
brother.
we're
This is his
taping.
thing,
Right.
Yeah, this is his thing. This is what he does. This is what he like. This is his passion. And so, as the big sister, I'm always looking for, again, fiercely protective, fiercly
Yes.
just on, like that's my
Aries
baby.
moon.
Yeah, that's just my baby. And so when he's like, I want to do this, sis, I'm like, oh. I want to, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely want to check out what he does because he's trying to take it to the next level,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he wants
yeah.
to start doing visuals and do it for himself. He did all this himself. He's self-taught.
This is awesome.
Yeah,
He's self-taught.
We're him and I are alike because I
Yeah.
taught myself all the audio and video stuff.
He's self-taught.
What's his sun sign? I'm just curious.
Libra, October 7th.
No wonder he was so accommodating.
Very balancing.
Yeah.
Very
Oh,
balanced.
just do it. Go ahead.
Yeah, very balanced. But we'll flip.
Oh, for sure.
I can't wait to find out. I'm gonna send you
Listen.
his stuff because my brother will go
My bestie's a
from
Libra.
0 to 100 real quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the scale.
Yeah.
You tip that scale.
Yeah, you tip that scale, it's over. It's
Mhm.
over because he likes peace, balance. If his routine,
Yes.
I tease him all the time because when we were growing up, my brother was very like at a young age. He had braces when he was younger, and I could always tell when he was getting ready for bed because he would go into the bathroom and he would put his toothbrush, his toothpaste, his floss, his this, his that. And he had one of those sand timers that you get in a board game.
Oh God.
Because the orthodontist said you have to brush for 2 minutes when you have braces.
Wow.
So he would flip it twice because
Wow.
he brushed for 2 minutes. Young.
I think he probably has Venus and Virgo.
Young.
'Cause-
Like Young was like that.
Yeah.
Young. And I was like, dude, who does that?
Yeah.
Like who? You just kind of spitballing,
Yeah.
you know? Like who actually is like, no, they said 2 minutes, but he
Very
that
literal, right?
young
Yes.
and a young, I want to say like 11,
Yeah.
12. My brother
Yeah.
was doing that.
And very disciplined.
And I tell him, very disciplined. I
Mhm.
I tease him all the time, and I say, you probably still have the first dollar you ever made. He said, yep, it's probably upstairs.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he's very
Yeah.
much. Very,
Cool.
he's like my big little brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love you, bro. So, anywho, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara and John, for coming on.
Real quick, if
Of
anyone
course.
wants to, I know we mentioned comedy a couple times.
Please.
If anyone wants to check me out on YouTube, just go to YouTube and search Jonathan, Jonathan
Mhm.
B as in the letter, period, White. Jonathan B. White, because I be white.
She got it right away. You didn't have to explain it.
I
love
was about to bust out laughing.
I love it when you don't have to explain it. That's,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Because I was like, oh my God.
I did a show yesterday and someone come to me and said, so Jonathan White. What? And I said, no, it's Jonathan B. White because I be white. And they were like, oh my God, I didn't even get it.
I got it
Yeah,
as soon as you
yeah,
said it.
yeah.
So thank you guys. I appreciate you coming on the show. Guys, as always, it's always a blessing to be on the air and for you guys to listen. You know where to find me. Go down below, subscribe, download the podcast. You know where I am. I am at Love Addict on Instagram. Love you. See you next time. Peace.
Yes.
As I got a dent
That
in my
was
hair.
cool.
Yeah. That was awesome. You guys were great.
Thank you.
I'm glad I got some firsts out of you guys. Yay, me.
I look.